love to have you introduce yourself, Dave.
Awesome, awesome. Nice to meet everybody. My name is Dave Walsh. I am the founder of a program called The True Tell. It's a program to teach people how to find their authenticity. I know that that's a word we bandy around so much, but I came from 25 years as a voice actor in Hollywood and lost my voice at the height of my career and regained it only to find that there was a huge, huge chasm in the world in terms of people understanding their voice and how to connect to the truth of who they are. So the program, the thrust of what I do is working with leaders of all sizes and shapes across the globe and helping them find that interconnection for better communication.
I love it. I'm so glad that you're on board. It's really important, especially now as we are trying to empower and inspire advocates and people for doing the right thing in business and in community and in life and family life and everything. All right. Well, Sandy, before you came on board, I did introduce you. I gave a couple of snippets from your long bio, but I really just want to say that. Sandy Gooch has been a role model and a kind of a mentor to me over the years, even though she's not that much older than I am. But she did sell her business a few years before I sold mine, and I tried to emulate everything I could from what I learned from Sandy's very successful business based upon passion, integrity, commitment, and filling a need which she identified in the marketplace for pure whole foods. So, Sandy, I'd love to hear from you. Why don't you just talk to us just a little bit about um, your journey? And I know it's a long story, so you just kind of give us some of the highlights, but we want to hear like what's some of the best thing that happened to you? What's some of the maybe bad things that happened to you, and how did you overcome them?
Well, actually, I think one of the things is perseverance. I've been on the website or the Zoom site since quarter of, and it was persevering to try and figure out what's going on, how to get into this uh, room, etc. It finally worked with the help of others, and maybe that's an example of how don't give up. If you have a goal, keep on with it and keep working until it works out, even if the goal comes a little late and you have to go through a variety of angles. Anyway, I developed a profound allergic reaction to tetracycline. No doctor could help me. My father was a research biologist and was able to deduct that I needed to heal myself through eating good food. Bottom line is, I opened up the first natural food supermarket in the world, wasn't able to get a loan because I was a woman. Then there was store two, couldn't get a loan. Now we had two popular stores, store three couldn't get a loan, and so forth. Again, it's perseverance and a belief in what you are promoting. And actually, I'm a symbol of wanting to start a business and share the value of what I was offering to others, the positive value. And so, yes, money was a byproduct, but I didn't go into business saying, oh, I'm going to make a whole bunch of money. It came to share my product, good food, healthy food, with others, with the community. And it took hold.
It sure did. It sure did. Everybody in Los Angeles knew about Mrs. Gooch's, and yet people across the country were starting to find out more about you. Yeah, good. Oh, I love this. Yes. Oh, we already went to key takeaways, but Sandy, can you see that screen there? I want
I can.
to. Okay, so you build consumer trust, right? You transform the natural food industry, and we love that. If it was Goochable, which meant right, is it if it's good enough for Sandy Gooch, it'll go anywhere? Is that
That's
what?
right. And so other markets would ask purveyors and manufacturers, well, tell me about your product. They wouldn't take enough time to do the research that I did, but they would say, is it Goochable? And if they said, yes, it's in Mrs. Gooch's, oh, well, then I'll carry it because I know that it's good. No artificial flavor, artificial color, additives, preservatives, refined white flour, refined white sugar, hydrogenated vegetable oil, GMOs, and irradiated foods.
Okay. So, Sandy, part of your journey was there were times when it was difficult. You mentioned you couldn't get a loan. Um, you were also married to someone else at the time when you started the business, and you had some people who were skeptical. You had some folks who said, "Oh, this business isn't going to be viable. It's too hard to make money in the grocery store business. Your
Yeah.
niche is impossible." How did you get the courage and the vision to overcome that?
I think that the courage was my passion and my total drive to inform and educate other people. And interesting, even though purveyors and many people in the supermarket industry and even the landlord who gave me the first lease said, this is the first time I've ever bet on a woman, and I don't even know if it will work. But it's knowing that you have a good product. My product was healthy foods, but it could be, a tech thing. It could be anything, but it has to be of value, and the customer has to embrace it and know that it works, that it's good and quality. And therefore, you're not only building a customer base, you're building advocacy. And it's the advocate that's going to not only come back and return, not because of the price only, but because of the value of what you are offering and presenting. The advocate also tells hundreds of other people through social media, verbal information, etc.
Are those like influencers? Is that the modern day term,
Yeah,
influencers?
an influencer would
Hmm.
be an advocate, but an advocate really, an influencer can do the job because they're paid. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I'm getting $100 per minute for doing what I'm doing. Oh, well, who cares? That's not always the case, by the way. But an advocate is a believer. I've experienced it. So, yes, there is cross communication, but you want the believer, the person who has experienced how wonderful your product is.
To do that. Now, you had humble beginnings. You're not the first woman who became mega successful who started out her career as a teacher.
That's
But
right.
Sandy, part of what you did in the stores was very innovative too. I mean, Trader Joe's was kind of doing some things like that. They had some cool people and it was a kind of a niche market, but your employees were really becoming experts in pure foods and whole foods. So how did you segue from being an elementary school teacher to a CEO of a multi-million dollar company? And and then tell us a little bit about integrating the teaching and the mentoring of other people that are going to be following your brands.
Well, the teacher educates and informs the students. The teacher allows for growth and additional knowledge and information, no matter what grade it is, whether it's kindergarten, sixth grade, 12th grade, whatever, or let's go to Harvard, whatever. You give them additional information so that they can grow and expand. So I took that modality, that belief and understanding, that platform into the market. And rather than just having food on the shelves, it was brochures, it was recipes. Up on top of the gondolas were scenes and themes that would inspire children. And they would look, I brought in art, which is so important in any community. So the community was informed in every way possible about the food. How do I cook it? How does it smell? What is it like? I would have samples out for people to taste. And so it was this engagement that a good teacher does with her classroom of students.
Mhm.
She engages her students to want to learn more, and she does it with a variety of aspects: visual, auditory, texture, the whole tactile, the whole thing. That's what we did in the market, and that's what people can do no matter what their product is.
Okay, that's a good thought. Brian, you work for innovative companies, you travel around the world. Do you or does anybody else have a question that you would like to ask Sandy about being a blue ocean strategist? That was that. And oh, Ken has a question also. So Brian, will let you go first, and then Ken will let you ask your question too. Okay?
Hey, Patty, this is Brian. Unfortunately, I have to drop. A business meeting came up that overlapped. Um, but
Okay.
one thing I loved on the previous slide, I'll ask the question and then maybe I can follow up with you about it. I like the statement that you made, Sandy, about the importance of communication during major changes. It'd be interesting to hear kind of both sides. What was a time where when you realized, oh man, we should have communicated more, uh, and how you took a learning from it, and then also what was maybe your greatest accomplishment around communicating, because it always seems to be the fundamental core of transformation. And I
Well,
have
Brian,
to drop. Thank you so much.
Brian, I really like Denver, by the way, and I'm there regularly. But so far as the communication process, I never stopped communicating. I never stopped informing and educating. It was a daily basis. And so that the customer base continued to expand. People would fly in from New York, Seattle, Detroit, everywhere to come and learn and get product, because at that time, at the beginning, there wasn't enough. As time went on, actually, from a global standpoint, people started to know about healthy foods and the reason why they were so important.
All right. Well, thank you for that question, and Sandy. And Ken, you had an interesting question. You want to know what our very first product was. Tell
Yes,
us,
Sandy,
what
I'm
are you
curious.
thinking?
I'm talking about square one. You had to start somewhere. What was your very first SKU? What was your very first product? And how did that, you got to start somewhere. Where did you start?
My very first product was a supermarket of 5,000 square feet that had everything you can imagine, from fish, meat, produce, canned goods, bulk grains and products, milk, dairy, eggs. That was my first
So
product.
did you start with all, but that's what I'm asking is more granularly, you know, all of those departments, all of those
Yeah,
SKUs. Did you start with all of them? Or did you
absolutely.
say,
No,
really? How did you do
opened
that?
up a
That's a huge leap.
research.
That's 0 to 100 miles an hour in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, research all the way.